everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your art Sherpa, and today I'm so excited to be bringing to you California Dreaming. It's another surreal face. John has the picture. He's going to pull it up picture in picture so you can see what we're going to be painting today. If you go into the description below, you're going to see the information for the materials we're using, brushes we're going to be using, links to our website where you can get the grayscale image and the traceable and the reference photo, which I highly recommend on this particular piece. You have all three. If you paint with us regularly, I would put this at the 3-hoot scale. So I'm definitely going to slow down and really try to drill in and explain everything, because I think this is going to be one of those tutorials that not only gives you a painting where you surprise yourself greatly with what you can do, but you also delight yourself a little bit. And I think we could all use that a little bit right now in the world, just being a little delighted by life and a little bit chipper, because the world needs some good news. How you doing today, John?
Oh, very good, very good.
On the mic today is my husband, John, and he has got some extra... Someday we'll have to do a behind the scenes of everything that's going on.
Someday.
Some extra challenges today.
Someday.
Because we have stuff in for repair. And so we're doing it differently.
We're doing some tech limping.
Tech limping.
It's
hopefully
tech
you can't
MacGyvering.
tell how MacGyvering tech limping it is, but we're...
Hey, look, we can switch screens, and we have picture-in-picture and...
Hopefully sound.
And sound.
Hopefully sound is good.
And people says it's looking good, so we're okay.
All right.
All right, let's go.
The first thing that I want to do is, if you look at our reference picture, you're going to notice the background and the skin color are really similar, and that's actually true. So one of the things that I want to do is create a ground for this particular piece, and that's going to help this piece get that more blended, soft look that sometimes we're trying to create as acrylic artists. It's a little bit harder to get to. So it's going to make our piece look more finished. It's going to help us get our blending, and it's also going to help us with our skin tones. So that's going to be the first thing I'm going to do, is create that ground. Before I do that, I just want to put out there that Cindy is wishing for some healing for her husband. Her husband went through a really shocking accident, actually. And we're just hoping that he is really just the best doctors on the planet, and he's healing very well. And then also, Michelle is wishing for Caden. You know, he's 9 months old, and he's going through like a lot of medical stuff, and she's just wanting doctors to figure out what's going on and help him just be okay. So we're wishing both of those things in the world. And then I personally am wishing the world would just behave and act nice, because gosh, we could use that as a change of pace for a while.
Yes.
That's just my 2 cents, but the world doesn't listen to me, so...
And I wish...
We'll see how it goes.
I wish for all of the people, all of the parents who have children all over the world, wellness for all of the flu bugs that the little rascals drag home for us to, to survive. I don't know why they do it, but it's
kids.
They're kids, and they do.
So the full materials list is down below in the description, but the first thing that I've got to do for this is make a base skin tone. So to start with my base skin tone, I'm going to pull out one little bead with a palette knife. This is a nice way to mix paint, right? So I've got this little, you can kind of see the little ribbon bead there, and I'm going to take it over to my yellow ochre, right? So this is titanium white, naphthol red medium, yellow ochre, burnt umber, and Indian yellow. If you don't have Indian yellow, go ahead and switch this for cad yellow, and I may still have to put some cad in there to warm things up. We'll have to see.
What do you mean by warming it up?
Well, so this red is a very cool red, and cad yellow is a warmer yellow. So if you look at the scale, the color wheel.
The wheel of color.
Yeah, the wheel of color, sorry. The wheel of color, this red's going to be closer to the blues and purples, and this yellow's closer to the yellow and oranges. And so therefore is perceptively, obviously it's not really actually warmer, objectively, it's just perceptively warmer to our eye. We think of things that are warmer when we're doing that.
It's experientially warmer.
So I'm mixing this sort of warm rose that you can see here, and I'm going to tone it a bit with a little burnt umber.
I want to just surprise you on this unusual Thursday afternoon. We have almost 550 people, over 550 people here hanging out with us. I know. Hi everybody. I'm feeling apologetic because I don't have my music or my bubbles ready today, and that's such a bubble-rific thing.
That is a bubble-rific thing. If you're brand new here, sometimes when good things happen, we blow bubbles.
We do, and it's awesome to have so many of you guys. Don't forget to share your paintings. I want to see them. I want to see all the cool paintings you do. So I'm gonna let some of them teach, but I want to see them.
Yeah, I too want to see them. I'm going to get a little more burnt umber. It's very nice to have some type of palette knife for thoroughly mixing paint. A lot of what I do is loosely mixing, which is I just kind of barely incorporate. If you thought of it in cooking terms, it'd be like folding batter together or something.
Yeah.
That would be loosely mixing. But sometimes I need to thoroughly mix my paint. Think of this as the KitchenAid of my studio. And I'm giving this a deep mix here. I'm trying to create this base skin tone so that my background and her face roll well together. I'm going to add a little of this Indian yellow to there. This is going to actually do some nice things. And I like that very much. And when I have, you can see this is like, it's like starting to be a skin color. This could be like a contouring color if you had a contouring makeup palette, right? So this would be a darker range.
Mm-hmm.
I have it fairly well thoroughly mixed. And I do the thorough mixing so I don't get any surprise colors in there.
Surprise colors?
Surprise,
like
where there's some little bit of red in there and it's like it goes wonky on me. Now I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to take just one bead of this color that I worked so hard on and mix it to about 3 beads of white to start.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I'm going to make a very, very light color. Now, if I was trying to save a lot of money, what I could have done is put this into gesso, actually, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
And that would have saved some money, and that's some things that you can do. But you can see I'm trying to get the streakiness out of this color. And what I have here is a pretty light skin tone. Now, you can buy skin tones in the tube. The issue with that always is that they're too one color, and if you just paint your whole face one skin tone, it's just going to look like you colored it in a coloring book, and it's not going to look real and alive. We have zones of warmth and coolness on a face, and so we always have to try to make sure that we hit that.
So I have a question. This is a good one because I know this is a crazy color mixing one, but since we're in color mixing, I'm gonna throw this at you. So Rio is saying, can we switch Indian yellow with cad yellow only if we mix it with naphthol red? Is it the same if we mix it with cad red?
It's just not the same.
It's not the same.
So what it is like, you know how in baking you could change out cinnamon sometimes for cardamom, but it's not the same?
Or you can use like half a stick of butter and water to make milk. But it kind of.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's like
really?
Yeah, I know.
Didn't even know that.
That's what I thought too. I was like, really?
I was going to do the half a stick of butter to avocado, but I don't feel that's the same. But it's kind of like that. In painting, it's kind of like that. Like in cooking, there are certain combinations of things that taste good together, and you can kind of change it up once you understand that. So I know that I need, my yellow ochre and my white and a red and a brown, and I need another yellow to warm it, and I'm going to choose Indian yellow, but you could probably get away with a Hansa or some other yellow, but it won't be quite the same. Yeah. And you have to make adjustments. But don't be frozen.
It could still be a tasty picture.
It could still be, I like it. It'll still be a tasty picture. I have here a number 10 Goldilocks of my brush line. You could use any number 10 bright you have. This is synthetic filaments. I'm going to dip it in water and drag off the extra water.
Yeah.
I'm going to come and load it up. A very light color. I might even go more into the white with my base little skin tone that I have here. And I'm going to paint my whole canvas with this flesh tone. And when you see this paint on your canvas, you're going to be like, that's really flesh tone. I have a flesh tone canvas now. How weird is that? And I'll be like, yeah, it's pretty weird. Pretty darn weird. And we're going to paint that whole canvas this color. Crazy us. And then we're going to add the image to it. And that's really going to help us succeed in our painting and kick things up a notch for our final results. Sometimes it's little steps like this that make or break a painting. And you'll see me, sometimes I'll show you guys how to do this. I'm gonna blend the watercolor pencil that I had in there, which I probably should not have done green. I probably should have done red or yellow. That's okay, I'll work around it.
So Debbie was asking, do you only do portraits from pictures, or do you ever do them live?
Oh, from actual people?
With the people sitting.
Yes, I love to do painting from people sitting. I actually get a very different result, usually because, your model is not going to be there that long. So you have to work real fast, comparatively, right? Because you have to pay your model by the hour.
Yeah.
Not by the project. And so you've got to move a little quicker and work through. It's not, and life is so different than photo.
Yeah.
So you can take a bunch of images like you see here, and you can combine a favorite sunset with a really nice portrait, and you can, with Photoshop, create a nice original piece. But it's still not going to be the same as if that model was sitting in my studio or that sunset was sitting in front of my easel.
Right.
Not right or wrong, just different. So you can see I worked real hard for that skin tone, but look, I've got it. It's there. Yeah. My flesh tone canvas is uber flesh tone.
Oh, so Mariah was asking, she has some synthetic brushes, and they're stained from the time that she first painted with them. Is that normal?
Yeah.
Can I fix that?
I mean, you can keep cleaning it, but the thing is a lot of these pigments are staining.
And you can,
some of the companies will do a dark pigment, dark filament, so that you don't see the staining. I actually like to see the staining.
Yeah, your filaments actually are white, so you can really see it.
They really stain, and that's okay because I paint. Look at my hands. It's a hot mess today. My nails are a mess. I'm a mess. Everything's a mess, but this painting is going to be fly.
It's like you have a what do they call it? It puts personality into the brushes. Like if you look over at those brushes there, I think they look cooler with all the because it's like they're artist brushes now, like 'cause they've been used.
So, again, materials are in the description below, right? I'm going to rinse this and dry it out and put it to the side. We're going to really to get this face, to achieve this look, we're going to be using glazing liquid, and we're going to be using zinc, right? And that is going to really, really help us get a soft blend, because that's our struggle as acrylic artists, is how do I get a soft blend? All right. I'm going to sip my coffee, which clearly I need some today.
Nikita was asking, this is kind of a funny thing, because depending on who you ask and when, we won't give you the same answer. When is John and Cinnamon's anniversary?
We had it just recently. And then I remembered it, and I did a really cool thing for John. And you'll have to hear about that as it happens. It'll start mid-December. But then we forgot again. Like I bought the present early, and then we forgot again, and then we missed the actual day, and then we celebrated a day late.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure when it is. But Facebook told me that we had been together 23
October
years.
24th. It was our 20th anniversary.
Well, no, because there's when we started dating. We started dating, and we got married, weirdly really within close. A 3-day period.
Yeah,
of each
it was
other.
Very strange. And that's why we had that weird anniversary.
I'm having so much splashback from this coffee. I'm going to dry my canvas. You tell them about dating.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. Hey, look. I can still... excited because I still have control over the audio. And if you guys knew what a hot mess we're doing, you don't care about all that. Hey, guys. Thank you for coming and hanging out. We've got almost 600 people hanging out with us. I am so incredibly grateful that you guys spend your time hanging out with us, painting with us. It's a real joy to be able to celebrate doing this kind of thing, to just paint. So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. Please do share your paintings with us. It's one of the most fulfilling parts of our day is being able to see all the awesome artwork that you guys do. So post those up on our website, TheArtSherpa.com, or up on our Facebook page, or on Twitter, or Instagram, or Pinterest, or any of those awesome places where social media may be. Just hashtag TheArtSherpa, and generally we'll find it. But thank you guys. It's really awesome to have you guys out here as our art tribe.
Art tribe.
And it's amazing because we got 590 people here.
We're gonna face it up.
We're gonna just face the sun.
Face this up. So what I have here is so I buy the sample packs of Surreal, SARAL transfer paper. My mom actually turned me onto this. And it comes in 4 colors, so I can kind of change it up for my paintings, but you can buy it in big sheets at Office Depot or something. It's pretty inexpensive, and what's nice about this is it works on acrylic paint. Some of the transfer papers don't work on acrylic paint because acrylic paint is essentially liquid plastic. I mean, like in some basic sense, it's liquid plastic, colored liquid plastic that you can paint out in sheets. What are we doing? Ooh, thank you guys. Thank you. 600 people. You got to see it, John. never get to see John. Did you guys see John? It was like seeing Snuffleupagus. So I have this, and then I have my traceable here. So I pre-draw these out, and then I put these on the website because I think drawing is great. I definitely think take it on. There's a lot of great YouTube channels about drawing. But if you're not drawing yet, doesn't mean you can't paint the painting. So I'm going to show you how I transfer this on the canvas.
Okay.
First step when you're transferring an image onto the canvas is place your image where you want it.
And tape it down so it doesn't move.
Tape it down so it doesn't. Well, you have to move it a little.
Secure the image.
Secure the image. I'm using artist tape. You could use any low-tack masking tape that isn't going to tear up your tracing paper. Artist tape is probably a little pricey for this activity.
Tracy called it. It was a stunt face.
It's a stunt face. Way to go. So once I have that secured in place on the canvas where I want it, right, like I know where that's going to be at, I can lift that up and I can start trying to find the placement for my transfer paper. Basically, I'm going to want this wherever I'm going to have to make a line, right? I don't want to have to be guessing too much, and so I'm going to just work that out wherever I have a line. And so once I have that where I want it, I'm going to secure this much more.
You're gonna double secure.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot more secured.
And it helps. It really does. I mean, because trying to hold something down and trace
it's just not going to work.
No, it doesn't. I mean, like, I've tried it. So, yeah, the taping thing is huge.
So I find 2 points is really important, and then I'm going to now also double secure this. So pretty much everything is solidly where I want it. Pay attention to this line right here. This is your horizon line. This is what's going to make it believable that the water is above her head.
And her head isn't a tilted bowl of water.
That is pouring out. If you tilt this line, better plan on having a waterfall. That's all I'm saying. You know what? But if you do, just make it a feature, not a fault.
It's true.
Just be like, if you tilt your line, be like, and I guess it's a waterfall. That's what I do. People are like, how did you come up with that? And I'm like,
oops.
Happy accidents. Harder to get the switchers today, isn't it?
Harder to get the what?
The switcher. I've noticed a couple times I've moved on you and the switcher hasn't switched.
Oh yeah, there's some
so weird.
Cinnamon's trying to get me.
No, I'm just like, usually you're like so ahead of me.
Well, some days.
So I am doing this horizon line across here, right?
I was reading to chat actually.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's Lori's birthday.
Happy birthday, sweetie. So I'm going to not so much trace in my clouds as just this mountain in my horizon line because honestly I'm going to just work that all in.
Yeah.
But I do want to know where my rocks are and some of the nice patterning around her hairline. You know, you work really hard in your masking tool for this. Hate to lose that detail.
Yes.
Right? So there's a lot. If you like the idea of montaging pictures together, which I always have, there is a lot of tutorial out there so you can use your photo editors to do these kinds of pictures.
The mashup.
I actually met, and his name is escaping me, but the father of this photography method, he used to do this in the darkroom by hand using Dodge and compressing negatives.
Ooh.
Yeah. Now it's just like a filter and some other work, but it used to be like a thing. It used to be a thing, guys. Big
to
thing.
Construct these images, yeah.
Yeah, it was just really challenging to get these. So like, you know, we've got water here. This is going to be kind of fun to me to put these in because, you know, I think it's going to be interesting. Just putting those in. And then I'm going to trace around her face. I'm not going to worry about the hair so much. I'll just go back and visit that again. You keep the information that you feel like you need to paint her in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you need all the data, use all the data. You just need some of it, just use some. I just need sort of some basic lines. So. And I can freehand her in, but not and really teach it effectively. All right. Because then it's stuff and be like, I'm kind of blocking in here and here and here. Come curving this nice line under the neck. I think this part of her neckline is super important.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it, and I love her little brow line. Her closed lid is sort of fun. But I'm not going to really worry about the lashes yet because I'm going to be painting those in later. So again, only worrying about the lines that are going to be important to me, you know, as I'm painting it. And a lot of them are not. And then when I have that all traced in, if I've done this correctly and put the paper down the right direction and all those things, I should have a nice bit of transferred image. Again, and you guys can just get these free off the website, the traceables.
Yes.
Just go grab them. They're just there, and it's in a PDF format. And I also tend to throw it up on the Facebook group as well, or the Facebook
see, there
page.
it is. It all came through all that.
Yeah.
That.
See, I saw it. Now I know all the stuff I need to know. I've got some transfer over I don't love. That
Some
I'm not
overrub?
loving.
Some overrubbing?
Some overrubbing.
So you're going to go, you're going to
I'm going to just paint it out.
paint it out?
Paint it out, man. See, because I have this master color right here. Whoops. I can just mix that right into my white. Ugh. That's annoying. It all went pear-shaped on me.
Did it?
Yeah, it really did.
It seemed to be doing okay from here. Although I have to say, I'm just really happy that the switcher hasn't like caught fire from what I'm doing over here. Wires twisted and baling wire.
I'm using my glazing medium here to just
someone was asking earlier,
this out
what is glazing medium for?
So, all right, here's the fun thing. There's a
in.
lot of products called glazing medium, and they all don't do the same thing. Challengingly enough, they all do something completely different.
So
this is Golden's acrylic glazing liquid. It comes in satin or gloss or semi-gloss. I just grabbed satin today randomly, but normally I use gloss. And it slows the drying time down of paint, and it lets you glaze. Liquitex's glazing medium just glazes.
Okay, and what does that do?
So sometimes it just lets you do thin, transparent coats of paint.
Thin, transparent. So it makes the paint thin and transparent.
Makes the paint thin and transparent.
And the golden one also makes it dry slower.
But the golden one also makes it dry slower. So I can do both with the golden or one with. I need two products with the Liquitex. And the honest truth is, while I'm good with both companies, I don't like Liquitex's slow dry as much. Just don't. And so I find it gets sticky on me real fast.
What about that Grumbacher?
Oh, love the Grumbacher.
Okay, I've seen you use that.
Yeah, I love it. But it just slows the drying time down of the paint, and I have to be real careful with the ratios. And so I'm just cleaning up. See?
Yeah, I was just asking you. I was just, stream of thought questions.
No, these are great.
These
are. I have to. This is just.
What's wrong?
I don't know this. I've got it facing the wrong way, and so the way I'm pulling my brush.
Is messing with you?
It is messing with
That's okay.
me.
Well, you're still on frame, so it's fine.
Yeah, so I've just got to turn it around. Sometimes you have to do that. I'm just cleaning this up so it looks nice and making sure that this is the right tonal value.
So
for
now they were asking in here, how many hoots do you think that this
is? Full on 3 hoots.
Full 3 hoots.
This is a full 3 hoots. The way I'm guiding it, it's definitely still a student piece because I'm going through every step of it so you can duplicate that with me. But if you were really unfamiliar with dry brushing, blending, and color mixing, like at all, like you've never done any of it, this would be a little too challenging. You'd want to do a 1-hoop painting. But if you kind of understand blending and wet into wet and dry brushing, and you understand how to block things, you probably are able to take on a bigger challenge than you know. If you've done the pier, this is going to be like your jam. All right, now I've got this sort of in, and I'm going to work this top part of her, I think. Trying to decide. Oh, and I forgot to give her upper lip some. I'll just draw that in because I'm good with that.
It's funny
just so funny. All right, I'm gonna get a number 4 cat's tongue because I love them. And I've got all my colors here, so believe it or not, I can actually block her in pretty well. So I've got my base skin tone here, and by adding that's too much, but by adding a titch of the burnt umber, I can start creating these value sets, more blended, for her face. So coming under the jaw, I'm going to start brushing in this shadow. So this is in shadow. A lot of her face is about the value difference between the background and her skin tone. I'm going to get more glazing medium. I get asked a lot how to do this without glazing medium, and what I would definitely say is if you're going to be doing portraits, glazing medium is a good idea. I'm going to come to the back side of this line here and create a little extra shadow. And you can see how having the skin tone underneath is helping me already.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to make a little bit of the neck shadow here. And the trick again with acrylics is they tend to want to make hard edges, which is fine, but you may want them to make soft edges.
I'm going to adjust.
So I'm just blending this out using my number 4 cat's tongue and just giving this a nice blend. You guys just do a nice blend. Just sort of softening this back. And I'll come back and even soften this some more. Everything's going to be about softening it up. I'm going to get a little of that skin tone that I just mixed. Add a little more of the glaze. And then I'm going to evaluate how much I need to lighten this space in comparison to this space, believe it or not. So I'm feeling like I could take, one of the things that I gave you guys is a black and white to be able to look at the value sets, because color can throw us.
Yeah.
But if you, I'm going to move up to a number 8's cat's tongue so I can move more space. I'm going to get it wet, drag off the extra, get my base skin tone kind of lightly loaded in the brush and get a lot more white into it so it's very, very light. And I'll go ahead and get the glaze because I'm just trying to lighten this around the face, just maybe one shade. See how I'm doing? I don't know, can the camera see the lightning?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I moved the camera over and made a couple little adjustments there.
Oh, excellent.
So we can...
So just, you know, make sure that your background color, and see by using the glazing medium and the blending, I can softly start to create this. Ah, perfect.
You're just...
Doesn't have to be the whole thing, and I can softly blend this into my base skin tone, but I'm just creating these differentials in such a way as to... Because we're going to come really close to our reference here. That's our goal today. Our goal is to nail it. You guys ready to nail it?
Yeah.
I'm going to just get a titch of the Indian yellow on my brush. I may even wipe my brush a little bit on a towel so it's just dusted here. I'm going to get back into my skin tone. And I'm going to start my blend around the neck. Now it's going to be really important is I'm going to be working this. If you're doing oil paint, sometimes oil paints are preferential to people because they do this all easier, right?
Yeah.
A little more Indian yellow. But
there.
you can do everything with acrylics. This is just what I'm doing is there's just a hint of warmth to this part right here. We're just going to work that until we nail it. Let me get some more. Now I'm going to put out my zinc. Zinc white or mixing white, I prefer zinc over mixing white, is a very transparent, almost pearlescent warm white.
Mm-hmm.
And again, along with glazing liquid, is one of those things that can help you in acrylics get the kind of results with your paintings that you might be looking for. The red is a lot on my Surreal transfer paper here. I'm just going to let you know.
Yeah.
And that's okay. So I will just work it out. I'm just adding, see, zinc can lighten one value very subtly. So I'm going to just load my brush with zinc. Like I can come right here in the shoulder and just lighten this value a little bit right here. There we're doing. And it just barely impacts it, and that's something I'm going to like. Get a little more of my burnt umber. Oh, there's my mister. I'm going to mist my palette. It's drying out on me. Acrylic paint dries. If you see paintings where it doesn't seem like the paint's drying, I would greatly question if it was acrylic paint. So don't get frustrated sometimes when you see that out there where you're like, man, I'm not getting blended and da-da-da. Look at the palette of it and go, is it drying? If it's not drying, it's very unlikely to be acrylic.
Just
for the good or the bad, this paint dries. So I'm just taking this I've darkened our skin tone, our base skin tone value again with burnt umber, and I'm just dusting a little bit of a shadow behind the ear and along this jawline. I get just a smidge more in my glaze because I want to do this in steps.
So I think...
there we go. Here's a nice... I'm building that shadow. You think what?
So there are... Let me switch over to my headphones here. There were a couple of community members that were asking about whether there was a fuzzy sound to the mic there. No, what it is that there's some background noise, and I have a compressor running so that it mutes that noise when you stop talking. So it when you start to talk, there's a little bit of a background hiss that you can hear when you're talking, but when you stop, it goes away.
Oh, that's interesting.
It is interesting, but it's.
I'm just warming that up a bit, getting it right into here.
What that means is I gotta go chase audio bugs after this to get rid of that hiss.
At least it's not the Mr. Crickets.
That's true. It's not a cricket underneath your table.
This is just saying. I'm going to also bring some of this shadow that I'm working on to underneath my nose and around here, because the nose is always in shadow in some way. Some part of the nose has to be in shadow. And so it's a good time to just very softly start putting this in along here. I need to dip my brush, just the tip, in water, load with some glaze. This painting is going to be about patience. If you're very impatient, it will be a much harder painting. If you're very patient, it's a very doable painting. Just coming along here. Making sure that I've got this happening, and I can start blending this here. By painting in this first, actually, the reason I switched to this is it's going to let me softly integrate the rock and the ocean on the top into her.
So it's...
And I just want to say I'm really grateful that everyone's even willing to do artwork that's more challenging like this. I'm super excited.
There's lots of folks who are really enjoying this. Clearly, we've got over 325 people out here hanging out with us right now. Like, paint.
Oh, wow. We went from 500 to 325?
No, sorry, 620.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, my dyslexia.
That would not be good news. Don't be telling me that.
625. Sorry.
I'd be like, do I offend?
No, we have 100 more people. So
we're
they had some
just
questions,
making sure we have these values as we're coming in here, and it's about softening them. That's going to be our win sauce.
So so there's a couple questions here.
Happy to answer questions, because we're going to be softening lines for a bit.
So Kathy was asking.
Hi, Kathy.
Is titanium? So she has titanium white. Mm-hmm. Is zinc white something that she should consider?
Okay, so here's my thing on art materials. There are some things, like I get, like budgets may not allow, new products, but there are some products that when your budget allows, I highly recommend it. Zinc white is a color that I would highly recommend just having in your kit. Mm. And also the golden glazing liquid. I just recommend it, but of course you've got to work out your budgets, right?
Yep.
So you've got to figure these things out. All artists have to do that, though. Yeah. Not just when we're starting out, but we just all have to always do that.
And I think it was somebody was saying that your pink hair is causing the electrical interference. It's shocking.
I'm going to start softening my chin. And I'm going to be balancing between the two things. Like I might be coming back into the background color and just making sure. And what I'm doing is I'm clipping away my red where I don't want it. Right? Like you do. Yeah, I'm just cleaning this up. We're just painting this. Lost a little of my nose, so I gotta go put it back. So I'm like, oh no, I lost my nose. Put it back. Just softening that. And then, you know, you come get some white on the other side and then trim back. So some of what I'm doing is just cleaning up my lines. And I'm showing you this process because you might not know how to do this. You might be like, oh my God, there's like these red lines. What do I do? And it's this back and forth where I'm cleaning it up. See how it's already starting to clean up?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing. I'm going to come around her neck and make sure that line is nice and curved. So I'm into the titanium white with my base color. See why it's so great to mix up a bunch of that base color when you are starting out? Because it lets you do this type of work right here. And that is going to be important stuff for you to do when you're going. And every once in a while I got to miss this. It wants to dry on me so bad. I'm going to get my base skin color and some zinc. So the other thing is, whereas titanium white will lighten several shades, the zinc will do it very slowly. And also will help me get a nice, very graduated, balanced. And along this chin line, we're going to concentrate here because this is where it goes pear-shaped for everybody.
What do you mean by that?
So new artists, me, everybody who's painting, my mom, everybody, it is in those soft shadows under the jawline, around the cheek, and under the nose that portraits become really challenging. Now, and those are the areas that we have to just commit to spending extra time, grabbing some more zinc white, to capture that soft lighting.
Now, a question here. Leanne is in Germany.
Hi, Leanne.
Is it possible that zinc white could be called something else because she can't find it there?
It might be called mixing white, but here's how you find it no matter what they decide to call it. It's PW4 on the tube. So paint companies are allowed to call the vanity name of a paint anything they want to. This could be Flutterby white. It could be translated into 3 other ways to say Flutterby white, but they could just make up any name that they wanted to. But if they're trying to conform to ASTM D standard rates, and there's like 13 of them, this one is light fastness, right? But they have to put the pigment color here. So this pigment color is PW4. Titanium white is PW6. And so it doesn't really matter where you live. If you're painting with Chervon, if you're painting with Structure, if you're painting with any of the other ones, look for that number. Zinc, PW4.
Gotcha.
I hope that helps.
I think so. Help me. I understand a little bit more now.
So I'm going to get into my zinc, and not my zinc, my titanium, because I'm really trying to actively create a much lighter space right here. So you can see the zinc barely lightens, and the titanium white lightens a lot. And I'm just trying to, right now, the first thing I'm trying to get is the soft transition in the jaw. That's what I'm going to be working really hard right now. Soft transition in the jaw.
In the jaw.
In the jaw. Now, some of what makes this challenging is, you know, there's some control over the transition between the upper and the lower on the masking. But some of where I'm challenged is like right here, there's some transition that I don't want to paint. I'm not trying to paint the subtle transitions. I'm trying to paint her face more clearly. And so I have to make adjustments for that. Right now I'm just trying to get that in. I'm going to take this nice lighter skin tone and be brushing it right here. Just brushing it along, just lightening this up. Up. See, I had some paint sneak in on me. That's why it's thoroughly mixed on skin tones. This is one way of doing skin tones. You could also be painting like just values very loosely, like we did with the with the guy, with the expressive man portrait. But this is where a lot of you guys are trying to gain strides, is on these blendings. So that's what I'm trying to show. So I'm just adding more value. If your brush is giving you any grief, rinse that sucker out. I'm going to go ahead right now and add some burnt sienna. I am. Just a smidge.
I've heard you say on other portraits to change your water often.
If you're doing a big painting, right, and you have a lot of other colors going on, like if we had already done the sunset, I would have had us change the water before we started the portrait.
Ah, yeah.
So I'm going to just grab a little of this burnt sienna into the skin tone that I have. I'm going to come here because I noticed that there's a warmth there that I'm wanting to try to pull into this undershadow. Like you do. Softly, soft. You can just see it just keeps softening up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to take this right here. Ah, getting there. Love it, love it, love it. And bring that shadow back up on the collarbone. And softly right here. I'll re-soften in a second. I'm blending this out so I can have an easier time re-softening it. And I just need one more. I'm going to get a little of my burnt right here and my glazing liquid. I want a very transparent. I'm going to make a subtle, darker valuation. Subtle. Right along here. See it?
Mm-hmm.
That is that deep shadow, and then there's a bit of a one right here at the ear. Just a bit of a one, though. I'm going to come right up into the nostril with this. I'll have to tip it back later, but I've got to get it in. And then there's another one right here underneath the lip. It comes back just a hair. There we go. Getting there.
Yeah.
Rinsing out. Just that back and forth. Now you know why you made a whole bunch of skin tone in the beginning. Makes a difference. I'm going to come up above the brow. I need more glazing liquid. And I'm lightening this, and I'm going to try to create, think of this as sort of a ball, and you're shading the ball. If you take away the idea that it's a forehead, and you're like, oh, I'm just shading this ball, then it gets a little easier. I'm going to grab some zinc. A little more of my lightest skin tone. Maybe like along the top of this brow here and on the top of this cheekbone. Right? I'm still my number 4 cat's tongue, aren't I? Now, there is my base darkest skin tone. And I'm going to, if you notice right here along this cheek line, there is a very subtle, and I've got glaze, shading, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just, so softly, we're barely getting into it, start to put that in. Now this is all the same stuff we were doing with our black and whites. I just wiped off my brush. I'm going to grab some zinc. Start softening this transition. Blending wet into wet. Just making sure that this feels soft and blended. I'm going to pull some of this down. And this is again why I gave you guys the black and white reference and the color so that what you're seeing doesn't confuse what you're doing. See how we're doing on the big thing. All right, so we're starting to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do is we're like, okay, we just got to get there. More glaze, more zinc, more blend. How much blending is there? A lot, man. And get into my base skin tone and my glaze. Come along the nose and kind of tip that back. Now, the highlight on the nose, believe it or not, is right here. So I've got to create a slightly darker valuation under the eye and around the nose. There's a bit here at the lip, up into the nose. But by using the glaze, I can do this in such small stages as to not lose my work. The other place I want to get my base skin tone and some white, but my base is around my ear. So there's a lot happening in the ear in shadow and highlight. A lot. Ears, that's why we had a whole quest on ears. Because they're a complicated structure. So once I have that base in, I'm going to come in with some more white. I'm going to add a highlight at the lobe. Right here. Then there's some highlight in here. Get some more of my white on there. Definitely have some highlight inside here at this inner curve. And then there's a little bit here, but you can see there's a slight dark valuation. Right, so see, it's already starting to have its happening. I'm going to get my dark color here. Load that up on my brush with a little bit of my burnt. I'll wipe off so it's not overwhelming. Get some glazing liquid into it. And start putting in this subtle shadow that I've got right here. There's a shadow right there.
Now, the reference image is available on the website.
Yes.
Along with a black and white version.
And the traceable.
And a traceable.
And so, like, this is just about, can you take these slow, methodical steps?
Yep.
That's all it is. I'm going to add the shadow up here.
Your feathers are... Oh, there it goes. It came back.
My feathers are what?
Your feathers were taunting me.
Were they?
They came to taunt me a second time.
Okay. So I'm just adding the shadow. I just want the shadow here. A little more of the white. And the reason it's okay to leave some of the red here is that ears are very thin, and so the skin actually tends to be a little pink, interestingly enough. So that starts to work in our advantage. Now we have a nice little ear. There we go.
Ears.
Ears. Grab some zinc. I'm going to have a lot of hair right here, but I still want to soften this a bit. Even though I know I'm going to have a lot of hair. I'll just soften that. Wipe off my brush. Go back with my zinc and make a softer transition right here. Even though there's going to be a lot of hair.
You want it to be smooth.
Yep. I'm going to come get a little of my titanium. I'm going to come back here. Just make sure this highlight.
Maggie would like to know if this video will be available after the live show.
Oh, yes. Because you guys, I mean, like, look what I just did here.
What'd you just do?
I'd paint on my hands and it stuck. Acrylic paint sticks to itself.
It does. Did you make a little
Yeah,
mark?
I
Oh, you
did.
did the mark. I'm going to go look at that mark.
I'm going to paint that mark away. What I couldn't lift up, I'm going to just...
Oh, you just...
I'm going to just take it away over time. That happens. So my hands are dirty. And the paint that's on them, if I rest my hands against the canvas, will stick to the canvas. Just if you're wondering, like, how does that even happen? That's how that even happens. I'm getting some zinc. And I'm going to start working a soft highlight at an angle down her cheekbone. something at the top of her lip, and then all in her nose here with the zinc.
Now, you made this so that people would be more comfortable doing portrait work.
Yeah, this whole thing is about just become more comfortable with the ways that you can paint people in portraiture. 'Cause sometimes that's like the holy grail of art. Can we paint people? And painting people is like painting anything else. You just need to know the steps and the layers and stuff.
So if you're like Diana out there and you think that portraiture is like awesome,
yeah,
this is now the reason why she should just jump in and do it.
She should just jump in and do it. We have a lot. We start out at a really beginning level and build up. And we work all the way up into this level. I'm going to just bring a little bit right here. I'm pulling this down. I'm just making sure my red line here is disappearing. Like you do. I get a little bit of my, not my darkest skin tone, but I'm going to darken up my darkest skin tone a little bit. Come right under here. Along this nostril. I love noses. Everybody hates painting noses, but I actually like painting noses. They're a really fun structure to me. It's really interesting to find their space. Just come right under here, under the lip. I'm going to get a little of my burnt, my glaze. A little shadow right there. Deepen a little shadow here. There might be just a little bit right there. Comes under the eye just a smidge.
Ooh, I'm going to say congratulations to Joyce and her husband.
Really?
31 years today.
Woohoo! That is having been married for 20 and together for 23, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
I'm going to add just a little highlight here to the tip, and I'm just working this nostril.
They're taunting me again.
And I'm softening, 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 softening. Look at me soften. Everything's about softening. Hard to do with acrylics, but not impossible. You know, sometimes people act like that kind of shading process isn't doable, and that you've got to do like acrylics and oils together to get it, but honestly my feeling is that you can actually do it with both. Keep softening this little forehead. I'm feeling getting to feel pretty awesome about this, actually.
She's looking fierce.
She's looking fierce.
Got
fierceness.
Fierceness.
So taking my base skin tone, my glazing medium, and just making sure that my neck is rounded, like you do.
Yeah.
That's like my whole big goal. Coming back with some zinc. Adding some of these soft, zinky highlights. So yeah, always check the pigment colors, because like when I say phthalo blue, if you were to live in India, that would actually probably be Windsor blue on most of the tubes of paint. Mm-hmm. So you just need to know the color that it is. All right, so now I've got an eyebrow, her mouth, and this eye, and then we can do the fun of her hair and the landscape up above, which is the fun, easy part. She's looking pretty good, and she's going to come together once we put in her lip feature and her eye feature. I'm going to sip some coffee and mist my paint, which is drying and skinning like
while you're
crazy. Because it's acrylic.
Yeah.
If I were painting oils, it would never do this.
So if while I'm gonna ask,
why don't I paint oils? You ask. I don't know. I just really like acrylics because I'm impatient.
Can I ask you some off-topic questions while you're sipping?
You can ask me some off-topic questions.
I'll squeeze in one, just one squeeze. All right. So because we're really close to Halloween, I'll ask this. And this has to do with portraitures. So if you were going to say paint a vampire portrait, and you were having trouble for mixing the base for the shadows on the skin, which tutorial would you suggest to watch of yours for like vampire skin tutorial help?
Well, so vampire skin, generally you're going to go much paler, and you're going to go more dead flesh color, So it depends on the type of vampire. If you've got a classic undead vampire, I'm going to say that, weirdly, the Daenerys tutorial
She's
where
very
we just
pale.
did it with the gray
Yeah. Oh, that was really good. Yeah.
would be probably pretty good.
I would say start there.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
need something a little scarier, a little more like Silent Hill, a little more like 30 Days of Night, check the Undead Beholder.
Beholder. Yeah, the
'Cause
Beholder was really good too.
He's the more like, I don't want to say it's living, but it's that bloodier, weirder, necrotic flesh, which is harder to find tutorials on. So I made one, but then, because I had never been able to find any information on it, and then I thought some young person who wanted to paint gore would want to, and then no.
But we have that reference out there now. There you go. So for
the next part, I need my glasses.
you need the spectacles.
I'm going to really need my spectacles and to see what I'm doing, and I'm going to switch to smaller brushes. Small brushes. For sure. And I'm probably going to grab a shader.
That is both a noun and a verb here.
These are number 2 shader.
Spectacles.
And I'm going to do my mouth first. Now I'm going to put out maybe a little purple. This is going to be my shadow valuation. I could also put out a little of my phthalo. Going to need to anyways for her eyes.
I guess it's
and
true.
I'm going to add some black to this.
They were pointing out that in chat here that if you were a fan of Edward, you could go to any one of our glitter painting episodes and find all the help you need there.
So sadly but true. All right, I'm going to take a little of my blue and my burnt umber. Might even add a little black to it. I'm going to come into this space and create a deep shadow.
Now you're using blue to create that shadow.
Yeah, I don't really want to use black because it'll be powerful, but maybe in a way I'm not going to enjoy. So by being a little more restrained, I'm going to like that. I'm going to come along this eye line. And I'm going to make a deep band, which she actually has on her eyes. And then she weirdly has a bit of blue here. I'm going to glaze it that goes under, slightly lighter than the band in front of it. And then I'm going to get into my brown and just a smidge of this blue color that I have. I'm going to add that kind of in a downward stroke. Whiter at this bottom where the lashes are casting a shadow.
Oh.
A bit of a shadow cast by the lashes. Glaze is my friend. Glaze it. I'm just going to glaze even a little bit further down. This will make sense once the shadow. I'm also going to take this brown glaze as my first step on the eyebrow. When you're doing eyebrows, your first step is to create a soft, deep color that's in the basic shape of the eyebrow. You don't want it to be too powerful because then it'll make like a line, but you are going to need to make a soft base color. If you think about it, if you have to do your eyebrows in, right, you have to do this too with your pencils, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's that first step of an awesome epic eyebrow. I'm going to get some of my naphthol here and some of my Indian yellow. I still have a little brown on my brush, and that's okay. And I'm going to begin putting in the blush color to these lips. So just putting in that blush right now. The red is actually working in my favor. I'm going to also get this base color on this bottom lip. I'll be coming with like Make sure I have that ellipse shading kind of like disappears around the side so her lip is round. And coming here. So I'm softening that red into the lip. I'm glazing and I'm just starting to tint that. It's my first layer. I'm going to wipe this off. I'm going to grab some of that brown that I glazed earlier. Do an interesting thing here. I'm going to come right here and add just a smidge of that right a little bit below the lip and reinforce that corner. And then I'm going to hit all of this with my hairdryer for a second, because when you're using glazing liquid, your canvas can get sticky at some point in its mid-dry. Oh, she's looking so good.
She is.
In its mid-drying point.
I can zoom in there.
And my jam is actually the sky, so we haven't even hit my strong suit yet,
I know.
right? Where I'm really going to be able to bring it home. But let's dry her for a second, sip some coffee, chat a little bit, and then we'll get back to that next layer. Because sometimes with acrylic painting, and oil painting actually, it's about making sure certain layers are super dry so the next layer can go on top smoothly, if that makes sense. Yeah. Which I hope it does, because it's painting and I'm explaining it. All right, let's hair dry it.
So thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us today. And I'm gonna zoom over here because I can just see while she's doing that. How cool does that look? I mean, I'm just sort of having a nice time watching with you guys today. It's been a really pleasant weekend. We had a nice Halloween. I hope everyone else did. You know, it's we're moving into November, and it's that nice holiday time. So I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time live with you guys as we move into this season. It's just really fun to come out here and hang out and be able to do these broadcasts and see all the work that you guys do. So don't forget to post those. Go up onto TheArtSherpa.com. Post your pictures there. Go to our Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, all the social places. Post all your stuff up there. Check calendar on our website. We're going to be keeping that. We're going to be updating that with all of our new stuff that's coming out. What else do we have? Stay tuned as we're doing more updates in the studio, and that's all coming together.
Just so loving her.
Yeah, I am too. I was noticing this looks really. You're really looking really, really good.
This is a painting that I personally needed to paint just to feel better. I don't know where you're at in your day, but I just needed to paint this to feel better in my day. I find art for me, even when I'm teaching it, is really therapeutic and healing.
Yeah.
Breathing in, breathing out.
I was just saying, I love this part of the year because it's more cozy, and we get to I like the live streaming in the winter for some reason, because it's like it feels more like we're all together and being cuddly and painting and it's
take some zinc and smooth his jawline where I smudged it.
Blanket time where it's all snuggly and warm.
Snuggly and warm.
I don't mind when the stinky dog comes and be's more cuddly.
Bless the stinky dog. All right. So she's looking super spectacular. I'm going to keep getting into my little number 2 shader.
Yeah.
Making her lips just even more fantastic and spectacular. So I'm going to rinse out my brush good. Sometimes it's harder to rinse out small brushes. It can help to wipe them off on a towel.
Oh, yeah.
And then rinse them out again.
Any rinsing.
And just getting them kind of recovered back. You can see everything starting to skin, even with the misting. I'm just added a little of that Indian yellow. Get some of my white. Add a little more red, and I'm getting this sort of very petal pink color.
Yeah.
And some glazing. I'm going to come along the front of the lip. And just a little bit at the bottom. And then I'm going to blush a little bit here. A little bit down here. And I'm going to get a little more white. I'm just going to start putting in this highlight. I haven't rinsed my brush. So you can see the pigment that's on it is definitely impacting it. I'm going to come right here to the center here and just start blending this out. Come back. I'm going to wipe off and get some more of my dark again. And if you need to, all right, so see this here where I've taken this and I mixed it into the blue?
Mm-hmm.
This is like a shadow. I'm going to come along here, along this lip with this. It's going to be a little bit more here at the outer corner. A little bit more here at the tip of her lip, the point of her lip. Definitely along this part. Let's add just a smidge coming out to get more into my rose. And this is going to be all about balancing the space between these highlights. I'm going to wipe off any shadows. I'm going to go right into my zinc.
You're demonstrating this so that anyone can do this.
Yes.
You know, this
Right.
isn't, these aren't secret techniques that only the portrait painters get to know.
No, I really want everyone to be able to have a chance to do this stuff. And sometimes you need a demo to make that next transition
Yeah.
in your art journey. All right, let's see how it looks big. You back up from your work. I'm liking how that's looking.
Yeah.
She's looking really good.
She is.
She's really soft. Her lip looks rosy. She's got nice shadowing. So that's what I'm looking for. I could probably improve the shadowing a little bit on the top lip. Pulling it up because it's round, right? Now here's a weird little trick.
What's that?
I'm going to get my Indian yellow. A little of my zinc white. I'm going to add just this bit of glow here. Maybe a little bit right here. That's just understanding color, and it's going to make her lips just come together. The brows, I think, for everyone is going to be the most interesting. But, you know, we'll see. I'm going to take a little of my purple and a little of my phthalo blue, and I'm going to mix them together. And a lot of my zinc. And I'm going to start shading her eye here. So she's got this crazy blue. We're going to see if we can't capture some of it. I think as we come around the lid and whoop, I just moved the easel. Is everything still okay?
It's okay. We'll work it out.
All right, I'm going to come the front with a little bit of this very feathered blue, but I need it to be soft. So you know that it foreshortens around. Get some glaze into this. I'm going to wipe off and just blend softly. Softly as I can blend it. And then what you're playing against is the phthalo blue versus that other color. So I'm going to mix titanium white this time. Wipe off. Get some more titanium white. Just tinted with the blue. And it's going to be blended. Very much around this eye. I'm going to wipe off and get some glaze. So I still have pigment on my brush. I will go ahead and you can see how that's just doing this. Now I need to lighten even more, but this time I'm going to get my zinc. So I can do this in stages. And this is going to need to dry, so I'm going to dry this real quick with my hairdryer.
Okay.
And then we'll do the eyebrow, and then we can do her landscape.
Ooh. Well, thank you guys for coming and hanging out with us. This is totally lovely to have all of our friends here today with us. And, you know, we've already had a couple breaks. So I've already told you, you can find all the cool stuff on our website, TheArtSherpa.com. I'll remind you again. You can find our calendar out there on TheArtSherpa.com, but luckily she came back, so I don't have to remind you about anything else because I don't like talking.
I'm going to get my white and my glazing liquid, my titanium white. I'm going to really lighten this lid a lot.
Your feathers, they're getting me.
What feathers?
On your hat.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know what feathers he's talking about, but it's on my hat, so that explains it. I'm just blending this softly back. There we go.
So you didn't even know you had feathers on your hat today, did you?
I didn't even know I had feathers. I'm going to load my brush with blue and wipe it off. And again, just get a little bit of my glazing.
Oh.
Just make sure that I...
So you just wanted a little tiny bit of blue in there.
Yeah.
I see.
Now I'm going to dust this around. So that's just barely there. So now we're cooking with fire. And I'm going to get a little more white on my brush. And right here, I'm going to add this little highlight. Once I have that, I can start the busy work.
What were you cooking with before fire?
I don't know what I was cooking with before fire.
I just was curious.
I don't even know.
I don't know where that came from. Because whatever they were cooking with before fire probably wasn't very good at cooking.
All right, so I'm going to take my number, just whatever your smallest detail brush is, this is my number 1 detail.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a little of my burnt over here to my black so that it's not pure black. And I'm going to get a little glazing medium into this because I need to make a light lower lash.
The sun. That's right. I guess they cooked with the sun.
It's loaded just at the tip. I'm going to make this little shadow of little lash lines that are down here.
So Tommy's asking, are there any astro paintings being planned? Sports!
I did a baseball once.
We did baseball.
Does it count?
We could put an A on it.
So see, I put the lower lashes down there, and they're lighter than the top lashes. I'm grabbing the top lashes with just the black. And I'm going to start putting those in. Very light lines. The lighter your lines are, the happier you'll be. They curve. I'm going to rinse this out. Try not to panic during your lashes. They curve it down.
Cats and dogs raining from the sky.
Together.
Panicking about lashes.
Look, they're hard. They're hard for everybody. Don't even feel bad about it. It's really down to your paint and your brush.
Now, Astro's playing that sport where you hit one thing with another thing, not where you chase one person with another person, right?
I'm going to come back with a little of the black, and I'm just going to come along my little lash line. And I'm going to tap in all the way to the edge here. Just tapping it in, see? How's she looking? Let me get back. Yep. So now she's good.
You can't see it with the glasses on, and you can't see it with the glasses on.
I can't paint it without the glasses. Now, if we were doing like hyperrealism, we would get in here and we would pop in some of these highlights on each lash. If we were feeling like crazy people, and also the highlights on the skin tone. But let's get in her brow first.
The brow.
So I'm going to get my brown again on the tip of my brush and a little of my black and go back into that glazing that I did before for the lower.
Tommy was asking if we're doing anything tomorrow, and I realized that we are, aren't we?
Yeah. We're doing a couple things tomorrow, I think. There'll be stuff on the YouTube channel possibly. And stuff on the Facebook page.
We're going to be...
But not live tomorrow that I know of,
Facebook?
unless we change our minds.
Maybe Facebook something.
Well, Facebook for sure is scheduled at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, a live painting party style painting with Liquitex Basics.
Yep.
And we focus on using those less expensive mediums. So I made a darker than my shadow color, and I am following the hairline, right, that I have. and I am brushing the individual hairs in. And then I'm going to get a little more black on my brush, but still make sure it's somewhat transparent. And put in a couple more focus hairs, or an area where the eyebrow is a little thicker. See that?
Oh, yeah.
And that gives us the more realistic eyebrow. Woohoo! I get to paint the upper half. So at this stage, I'm going to give myself new water and new paint, guys, because this is all gloppy and not fun to use right now. Put out my sunset colors. I'm going to sip my coffee.
Sippy the coffee.
Take a minute, evaluate your face. You can spend as much time on this as you want.
Oh no, Karen has
It would not be unreasonable to spend 6, 10 hours just on the face. That would not be unusual for an artist who painted faces.
Karen has to sneak off back to work. She'll be back watching it later in the rerun. So when she's the time traveler back to the spot, hi Karen, you're back.
She's going to come out too. You can kind of tell she's coming out really well.
This is turning out fantastic. I'm like, I was really surprised. I was like, this girl is on fleek.
She's on fleek.
And
put out some phthalo blue.
I really have been enjoying these personally because I've been looking at all of the Vogue stuff, and I like.
That's true.
So I like the Vogue layouts. So
John has a surprisingly strong feeling about the Vogue.
Yes, because they're good.
I'll put out a little naphthol red.
I venture to say the best at what they do.
I'm going to also maybe put out a little quinacridone magenta and a smidge of cad red light, just because I want a really dramatic sun. So this sunset and these rocks are going to be the bomb diggity, and then we will do the hair and we will have painted something seriously lovely.
Now,
Joyce, that people around us will be like, how'd you do it, man? We'll be like, oh, we're just awesome like that. I don't know what to tell you. I just am so creative.
Joyce was asking what brush you were using there for the eyelashes.
Oh, okay. So this is the #1 ArtSherpa round.
Okay.
If you can get it, I would even suggest having one in hand of the 3/0.
Gotcha. Those are really sharp little brushes.
Sharp little brushes made for long-term use in acrylic paint. And it's just what's the problem with detail brushes is they blow out very quickly.
Yeah. And
put out some titanium white. I don't know that I'm going to use zinc, but just in case, I'm going to put out a smidge. I'm going to get my rock colors, which are the burnt sienna and the burnt umber. Oh yeah, I treated myself to 2 today. Living large. That's also for her hair too. It's going to be really interesting getting the sunlight on the water. This watercolor is so fascinating. We'll have to see if we can get it, and we don't need to get ultramarine, because we might need to get some ultramarine. I just warn you now. But I don't think so. There we go. So we're really prepped for nearly everything we could possibly need.
This is round 2?
This is I like to have a lot of colors for sunset. There's the Doc's purple. And I'm going to put out a smidge of black.
Might even call this round 3.
Round 3, and we're going to finish this little sucker out. Remind me to mister on occasion, because the paints are going to go. And I'm going to start by working in this little sunset, right? Which kind of comes up here. Let's take our little zinc. Comes up a little bit, because her hairline is actually what determines the sunset.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's how we masked it out, so that's what's going on, man. I'm going to get my #8 cat's tongue, make sure it's pretty rinsed out. And I'm going to grab just I really like my Indian yellow. And I'm going to start here at the bottom, along this line, blending this out. We can easily put our little mountain back in because it's a dark color. So this is going to be the darkest of the little values that as it's coming up, right? I'm just going back and forth. Indian yellow is a nicely transparent color. You get some zinc.
Are there
so
any?
I'm going to just blend this up.
Now, are there any alternatives to Indian
Cad
yellow?
yellow deep, maybe Hansa yellow deep.
They're similar flavors, but different.
They're similar flavors, but different. That's all.
So it might add a Hansa flavor to your painting.
Exactly.
But you might like that Hansa flavor.
Really, I mean, at the end of the day, you're painting a red, a yellow, and a blue with white and black to tone and shade. And it's how we dance all those little colors. I'm just adding zinc as I'm going up. Sort of lighten it very softly. And I'm wiping out my brush so that the pigment load is lightening. And there we go, all the way to the top. Already we have sort of a sunset that's happening, don't we? We haven't even done a lot, man.
That's a beautiful little sunset happening.
It's a beautiful little sunset happening.
Just emerged. As sunsets do. They just happen.
I'm going to take a little of my burnt umber over to my phthalo. And this is the deep color of my water. That is my deepest watercolor. And I'm going to be coming back with a bunch of highlights, but let's get this deep color in.
Deepen her thought.
Deepen her thought. And let's put those little water areas.
Now you're using your cat's tongue.
Number 8 cat's tongue to just sort of... I know I have other...
It's sort of cheating.
Just putting this first value in. Right? Just this deeper value. We will be coming back with lots of other value. We're just getting that in. We don't, again, have to be too precious around the rocks because they're dark. We will be coming along that, painting those back in. So see how it's very transparent, the color I'm doing? But it's going over the skin tone that I had. I'm going to put this through the rocks where they are. In this case, the red showing through is actually helping me.
Oh yeah? Why is that?
Because I'm seeing where my rocks are while still able to paint my blue in on a horizontal back and forth brush stroke.
Oh, that makes sense. So, let's see here. Joyce, I think, Joyce was asking.
Hi, Joyce.
What are you using to mist your paint with?
Okay, so this was given to me by a community member, but these are micro misters that you can get off of Amazon. You can get one at Jerry's. It's a little pump action in the Soho. And what they do is they mist, but they don't do big droplets because that can mess you up in acrylic. So they're keeping it wet, but not soaking it down.
It's a fairy mister.
Yeah.
Puts a light dew on everything.
Yeah. Now, see, if I take this blue over to my yellow and add a lot of white, I can start to pull my reflection color because there should be a lot of the sky reflected in my ocean. But it's very, very light. Super light. So you can even start to take that back and forth in some of the areas. Not everything, you're just kind of starting to say, hey, I see this is happening here. I'm going to come back with a lot of stuff, but let me start talking about this. Just the beginning of that conversation, and that can sit and rest for a second. Now we have that color there.
Wow.
Another one.
It just turned oceany, just like...
It did. I'm going to treat myself to one of my cloud brushes because I want to just have a nice time scumbling, and all the rest of it is going to be kind of like a dry scumbling. So I'm going to start my some of my clouds, and I think I'm going to work on these weird light clouds that are over here. So I'm going to take a little of my Indian yellow, and I might even add just the smidgiest of the burnt umber to it.
So,
and I'm going to start putting in these dark... So clouds are basically like these little round shapes that have shadows and highlights. And you're just painting the shadows and highlights. I think what gets people is that they they keep thinking, it's a cloud though, and it's made of water and air and things, and it just gets them. And I'm going to be a little more expressive with my clouds because I feel like the sky could be even more interesting. So I bring some of this in here. You can see I'm creating this darker value here.
Art Girl's got a good question here for you.
Oh, I love good questions. Ask me a good question.
She says, do you always know what you're painting when you work on personal, not lessons for us, or do you ever just start and see what happens?
I start and see what happens a lot. There's nothing, I mean, it's great to have a plan.
You sometimes do that on the show, too.
Yes, I've done it to you guys on the show, more than you know. More than y'all have known.
Probably half the lives we've done, she's not rehearsed.
In the early days, especially. Yeah, sometimes I don't rehearse.
Probably, if you count the early days, I would say probably 80% of what we've done has not been rehearsed or a lot.
Tell everybody I can actually paint, so it wasn't like a worry. So I'm adding these little dark values here, and it'll be in the highlighting of them that this part of the sky will start to happen. So see, I'm just wiggling this little brush back and forth. This is like, if you watch Angela and I, you know we are fans of Deerfoot stipplers, but they're hard to find, and they're not always stiff enough, and they can be a problem. It works a lot like it, but it's rounded, so it's a dome scumbler. My clouds are dome scumbler. So if what you're trying to do is do this dry brush little back and forth blendy thing.
It's not a Deerfoot stippler, it's a dome scumbler. Don't you know?
Cloud.
I mean, come on.
Well, that's why I
use the lingo.
I'm adding a little shadow here. So I'm starting to create my little sunset line, which I really, really, really like, right? That you do.
Yep.
And this is where, weirdly, along here in a couple places, where we're going to be getting more into the CAD to get that to pop, interestingly enough. Now, I've got all this on my brush, and so I'm going to come over here to, say, my naphthol, and maybe even a little of my quinacridone, and I'm going to smidge a little purple into this. I want it quite warm, so that's why I'm working these two reds. So this is my naphthol red medium, and this is my quinacridone. And I'm going to start putting in this shadow bank.
The shadow bank. Is that where clouds put their money?
Oh
shadow bank.
Gosh. Oh, it's another bad art joke with the TheArtSherpa. It never ends. So I'm just starting with this red tone. I'm going to deepen it up, but I just want to start getting this valuation in here. I'm making sure my little cloud line is weirdly shaped because clouds are messy little bits of kit, and you got to pay attention to that when you're painting them. So these also help with creating those very uneven, almost, if you think of this as a torn paper edge, it could help you.
Yeah.
This type of cloud bank is a lot like a torn paper edge. So I'm just trying to paint a torn paper edge. Why do I know how to do that? Because I had a professor make me paint torn paper that had decoupaged no canvas once. Made me really mad to do. I don't know why, but I was so mad. All right, I'm adding a little of my naphthol and my quinacridone together. And I'm coming down here, and along here, I'm going to be just adding this red here. It's a little warmer in the red, right? There's going to be a little sun right there. So I'll just bring this down, but not all the way down. Just back and forth, you can see, just creating this unevenness. Now I can go into my purple a smidge more. And start to blend these two spaces. The yellow behind actually grays out my purple, so I don't even have to worry about that. Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of these are somewhat transparent, so I'm getting these sort of soft blendeds. No, I'm not painting oil, but I'm still getting a soft blended effect in this space.
Now,
a little more of that. I might grab some glazing in there. A little more dark. Do I what?
Now, could you talk about the differences between canvas boards and canvas and why you? Okay,
so stretched canvas is a type of cotton or linen that is stretched around wood stretcher bars and stapled in most often, creating a drum effect. It's very springy. It's very responsive to the brush. It's very energetic, and it's traditionally what people expect when they're purchasing artwork. Canvas boards are a solid board surface that sometimes has canvas attached to it or a canvas texture imprinted on it. They're both then finished with a primer, generally type of spray gesso, and ready to paint. They vary in cost depending on the stretcher, the thickness of the stretchers, the quality of the duck canvas or linen on them, and the finish. So like this is a very economic pack of canvas boards from, you know, Michael's. But if you got ampersands, it would be glass smooth too. Someday I'm going to like treat myself to some ampersands on the show to show you the difference in performance. It's crazy.
We've also used some Arteza on here and some Fredericks.
Yeah. I'm adding a little more purple to my brush. I'm coming in and I'm adding the deep value of some of these shadows on the clouds, because clouds have shadows, right?
Yes.
Push some of that shadow back. So it's just the purple now.
Now clouds are notorious for throwing shade.
They're notorious for throwing shade. You are on today. I love it. I'm just loading this brush up. So what can be a trouble with these is if the glaze underneath isn't dry, it can make the canvas sticky. For a scumble brush to work, you do want the underneath surface to not be sticky. You don't want it to be too dry. I'm going to add a little bit of more shadow right here at this front edge, but I'm going to leave it kind of red there. I'll put this here, and then I'm going to do an interesting thing. I'm going to kind of wipe off the extra paint, and I think I'm going to get a little of my zinc. And I'm going to just touch the top of this cloud, I think, with a little bit of that zinc and purple that I've got mixed there. Maybe this back edge here. Well, it's oh, so pretty right there. See that?
Oh, yeah, that's really cool.
Just dust that in, maybe along here. And a little bit here. Pretty fun stuff. I like it. I'm gonna rinse out. Now, I'm going to take my number 2 shader, wherever I put that. Where did I put that? There it is. And I'm going to take a little of my yellow, and I might even get maybe my zinc. Zinc can be nice. This can also be nice to do with a, no, I need to do it with my titanium.
Titanium.
So my brush is still just tinted with the Indian yellow. And I'm going to come around this edge and paint in some of the highlights of these clouds. See them?
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit. Now I'm going to get a little of my cad yellow, because that's a surprise in that line, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Will look very different than the Indian yellow. And some titanium white. Let's improve the flow. And I'm going to come along here. More yellow. This one's kind of a crazy one to get. And I'm going to
So here's one for you.
Huh.
What kind of shorts do clouds wear?
Oh no, what kind of shorts do clouds wear?
Thunderwear.
Oh no.
I thought that was
just
good.
taking this like around the edge here.
Thank you for that one out there. I'm going to find out who sent that to me. It was awesome.
Maybe a little bit there. You can even add a little of this up here in the clouds where there's some highlights that have been caught.
Carolyn sent that one to me. Thank you, Carolyn.
Let's just make sure we have some nice little highlights. How's that looking? Let me see. Backing it up. Or not. There we go. So we're starting to get that beautiful, beautiful sunset in there. Now, back to my little scumble brush that I have rinsed out. One thing that I've got to do is right here, I've got to warm this space. So I'm going to take a little of my naphthol and some of my cad yellow. And just make sure that this is warm right here, a little warmed up. I know, weird touch. And I'm going to see if my shader will do it. do my little radiations out. So a little glaze in my cad yellow. Oh.
You hear that, right?
What?
That clattering in the other room?
Yeah?
That's Twix. She got a bottle and won't give it back to me. I ran in there to get it from her. And
Really?
She ran with it. She hid underneath the sofa, so I couldn't get it.
So I'm making sure my sun's a little bit white here. And I guess I'm going to hit the little solar flares last. All right, I'm going to get a little of my yellow here, my cad yellow, and I'm going to push a little bit of it into this part of the sunset right around the sun. See, just right around the sun, just this part. Not everywhere, just this part right here. There we go. And then when I'm all done with my rocks and water, then I will come back and do that. Now I'm going to take a little of my black, some blue, and some burnt umber. And I'm going to paint my far off hill here. I hear all this rustling. What are you opening?
It's the dog in the other room.
Is that the dog?
Yes. That's what I kept going over and trying to get from her. She took off with one of the little milk bottles, and she's just got it in the other room. And every time I run in to get it from her, she hides under the sofa. That's why I was like, dang it.
I'm just getting this nice little dark valuation in.
There she is.
Just pulling this all in.
Use that glazing liquid just to extend that.
Just to extend that and improve the flow.
Ah.
Just a nice little distant hill there. There we go.
Oh, you were looking around to see.
Yeah, I have to look around to see. I'm gonna load up my brush with a little of my burnt umber and a smidge of my burnt sienna. And I'm gonna start kind of trying to talk about these rocks a little bit. Because then I've got to start talking about where the hair blends in. So I'm just using my number 4 cat's tongue, and I'm just laying these in. Just laying these in. Now I've got this coming down here. A little more burnt, improving my flow. Now, right here you're going to see that it's quite warm, and that's because the sun is there. So I'm going to actually have to come back and warm up some of this rock to make it believable, like it's in the path of the sun. I'm telling you what, sound-wise, it sounds like it's right on the other side of my curtain.
No, I think the dog's over here.
So I'm just doing my little rock here. And then, here's what's interesting, because this starts to blend out and become hair. Right? So we'll just take this deep color, and that comes quite close to the ear. I'm going to just stroke it back a little bit like it's hairs. There we go. And then go dark here at the edge. So we're starting to get that. There we go.
It's looking good.
It's what we do. Now, one of the interesting things that I can do, I'm going to dip my brush in water and improve the flow. You can see I swirled that around there. So I'm going to just
Oh, I see.
Take this little hairline here. Now I'm going to be a little more aggressive with it. And maybe this picture is.
What do you mean by that?
I'm going to show the hair, like there's some softer areas on this for the hair, and I'm going to probably be more like, no, this is the hair. I might like do a thing where I come up there and I'm just trying to make sure that where I have this and the rocks coming down. I almost like got all crazy and decided, like, thought about adding some waves in. Then I thought, no, that's a lot. And we've got all those girls with waves coming up, so.
And what about Kevin?
Got
Kevin
a lot
could
of
come
ocean
visit
coming
too.
up. Huh?
You could have Kevin come visit.
Yeah, could have had Kevin come visit.
He hasn't come seen us in a while.
He has not come seen us in a while. That is super true. I'm going to add a little rock right here. So see, I'm just adding these little rocks. You can add a little rock right here. Maybe a little rock right there. I'm going to improve the flow by dipping in the water, swirling around. A nice flow. And so that in places like right here where I would have the hair, and I'm using the edge of my brush. You could use a small detail brush. You just want to create the first basis of these little hairs. See how we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Right here, let's be a little more aggressive right there. And again, we'll come back and lighten it in a minute. I'm going to be a little more whimsical with the hairs coming down. Because I can. Why not, right?
Yeah.
There we go. So we've got some rocks and the beginnings of hair starting to come down.
Dude, this is looking so good.
Isn't it?
I mean, really, I like the painting better than the...
I often do too. You can always use Photoshop to help you plan out something like this. But remember that you can do more in a painting sometimes than you can in photo editing.
It's a different expression.
It's a different expression, and you can break different kinds of rules in this space.
Yeah.
But they're good tools to use together.
Mm-hmm. It'd be interesting when we get Cinnamon painting in VR. See how she does there. See how quick. I wonder if you'll be as fast.
There's going to be a learning curve for VR, I'm sure. Now, I'm not probably going to put hair through here because it could get like she's got hair coming out of her nose. So I'm going to avoid that.
That would look weird.
It would look super weird.
No nose hairs.
And again, this is just the first of the hairs that she's got coming down. And we have many, many more we're going to do. While this brush is still got some brown on, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to add some of my Indian yellow. And maybe even come off this part of the clouds now with this color, showing that this hair is... See?
Oh, yeah. That is fly. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So now she's got... I kind of did this thing when I... what I did for Ever After.
Hey, don't forget to sign it, though.
I'm not done.
Okay, yeah, I know. But I'm like, well, it looks like it could be done.
No,
like,
we're not done. Let's all take a deep breath and sip some coffee. I wish that you could be done, but we're not done.
Like, this looks really good.
This looks pretty good right now, but it's still unresolved, and we have some really cool stuff to do. I need a tissue, too.
You need tissue? Okay,
yeah, you can turn me off and give me a tissue. There's no reason they need to hear this.
We'll go to there, and then we'll look at the cameras. See, and they can't hear you right now. You're muted, and we're gonna look at this and see. I'll pan over there, and you can see how cool that is. The painting. It looks really cool. So you can see it from there. Cinnamon's looking now behind the curtain here at what I'm doing. So I don't know. You, but just very faintly in the background. Just very faintly in the background, if at all.
You heard the dog that one day?
So
all right,
back.
so we're doing pretty good. We've got a kind of nice sunset.
We have a very nice sunset.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Oh, look at that. Bang. Let me go back over there. See, look at that sunset. That's a good sunset.
Pretty good sunset.
I like it.
All right, I'm going to grab...
What are you getting there?
I'm trying to decide if I want to do my number... maybe I'm going to get a small bright. I'm going to get a number 2 bright. And I'm going to start warming some things up. See where the sun is? Everything in this radius. So there's 2 valuations in this landscape that you're thinking about. It is the gradation of the sky and the radial gradation of the sun.
Okay. Yep.
You have to balance those 2 things out to create a really nice sunset. And one of those things that we want to do is in a certain cone radius, kind of like this, we want to lighten the values of some of these objects, warm them up. So like say I've got this nice background color that I've done. I might add a little cad red, namthal red to it and glaze so that right here, this part of the silhouette is not cool. See that? Mm-hmm. I might come and add even a little of this cad red light.
Now this is Katie asks a good question.
I'm going to get some Indian yellow in here. I'm warming these rocks up. Hey, Katie.
So how do you get to the same color if you've walked away from your painting and then you have to come back and remix it?
If you are not confident in color mixing enough to remix, right? So you probably want to invest in a wet palette. You probably also, or watch my video on making a free wet palette. I have a video on how to make a really effective free wet palette, and that totally works. But you can buy a wet palette. The other thing is to write down as you're going, to get into the habit when you're in that learning phase.
Yeah.
And you can kind of guesstimate, right? This is more cooking than baking, so you can be like, I don't know, 1 part cad, 1 part naphthol, 1 part brown, 1 part Indian yellow. And you take a note. So if there's a color you have to come back and visit, you kind of have notes on what you did. You can even make little marks in your... We talked about this in the Big Art Quest one a bit, about needing to do that.
And as you get experience, I've noticed...
It just gets easier. You just start to...
the Sherpats seem to know that, like, well, if you add a little bit of this color or a little bit of that color, then you can get it to where you want it. And,
Yeah.
So that experience with working with the paint probably
helps a great deal. So I'm just on the lips of these rocks that are in this corridor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And right here. These are the warm rocks in the corridor of light.
The warm rocks in the corridor of light.
Oh, that's right.
That's the beginning of a movie.
It could be. And this all can be much cooler out here. Warming this up really helps us. I'm going to go through and I'm going to get a little of my burnt umber and my burnt sienna. And I'm going to start kind of blending this out. I like my rocks. I like to think about how I paint my rocks. So, they get real cool as they... And then to cool them, we're going to use blue and black, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, we're just... doing a nice little rock valuation. Right here, it might just be maybe a little burnt sienna right here. Right here. It's going to be fun to paint this water all there. I'm kind of excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to wipe this off, get a little blue, get a little burnt umber, and come here and start to paint in these darker rocks that we have out here. Darken them up. They're more in shadow. You can even start darkening a little of this space up right here. It comes back. Doesn't mean they don't have any gradation or value. It just means that we are making them kind of darker. If I want to add a little highlight to them, I get my zinc. I can just come along the edge. It might be exposed to the sun. Right? Where would they be? Exposed to the sun. I can add some of this color here. A little of this can go into this part where the rock is warm. All right. How's that looking?
Great.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, burnt umber in phthalo blue, a little bit of zinc. Coming along this line right here.
To accent that.
Yeah, we're going to just bring this back, just right under this. Oh. Thinning that out, getting a little more zinc. So you can use water to thin or medium to thin. Any of them are pretty adequate, pretty okay. From this right-hand side. But again, what do we have to do right here in the corridor?
Radial or
So I'm going to
something?
just... I have my blue here, right? But I'm going to go right into my naphthol. So there's a shade of it in there, but I don't take it purple. I'm going to come right underneath the sun with that. And then I'm going to very lightly, here, let's get some more zinc. That right through there. Get a little of your Indian yellow. Because what's warm? Everything around that. Everything around that is going to be super, super warm. Whatever else you have going on, that has to be going on. Whoops, too much.
Oh, that's...
It doesn't matter.
Oh, I just disappeared.
Yeah.
Was that zinc?
That's the zinc.
Oh. Now, if that were titanium white.
That would have been a whole thing.
That would have been...
the zinc. So now, see, we've warmed the space around the sun. It makes that water feel so much more real, doesn't it?
Yeah, that looks super good.
So I've got my...
I liked it before, but, like, now you're just like... You brought the sun.
Got to bring the sun. I'm going to add some more zinc out there. Zinc is really my friend.
He's your friend in
zinc
landscapes.
Zinc is my friend.
Zinc is a landscape friend.
It's a portrait friend. It's a landscape friend.
And you're doing both here. You're doing a portrait and a landscape.
Both. I just wiped off because I just want to tint these because this reflection is so bright, isn't it? So I'm just bringing this back and forth.
Oh, that's cool.
Leaving some of the low values out there.
You put some atmospheric haze on it.
We are.
Or some surface haze, watery.
We need to surface haze it. So I'm back and forth with the zinc. I'm leaving spots of deep valuation, right, that you do. Because I've got to have these little areas of lightness. And we'll come back and add a little shadow to anchor the things we need to anchor. Now I can tint with a little of my Indian yellow. A couple places. Because what would happen out here? The sky reflects on the water, does it not?
Yep.
So, water is a mirror. Just got to make sure that I'm showing that mirror. Now back into my dark color, which is the burnt.
Mm-hmm.
And the phthalo blue. And around my rocks. They have shadows, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
You can give some water out here. Could have some varying little shadows.
Now, their zinc white is naturally translucent.
It is, yeah, it is its nature to be translucent, and it does not over tint your paint.
Oh.
So see right here, everywhere I have a rock, what did I put in? A dark value because I have a shadow. Now, right through here, I'm going to take this super light. I'm going to get all my zinc white on here. Just make sure that between these things, it's very light, and then right there is super light. Just making sure the places that need to be light. So once I have that water in, and I'm feeling pretty good about that, and I'm feeling pretty good about my rocks, right? Like I know I've got a shadow where I want my shadows. I think I could shadow right under these little rocks. Okay.
The shadow rocks.
Yeah, put your rocks in the shadow. Shadow under your mountain. You can always deepen any colors you need to or whatever you got to do. So here I am. I'm really close. What I've got to get is some reflection. If I want to do the flare on the sun, which is very nice, I can. And then I want to define her hair, and then I'm finished.
Gotcha.
So hopefully everybody was like, that wasn't too bad. That was sort of a fun thing.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to take my cad yellow and, of course, my glazing. Because glazing is my friend. And I'm going to kind of radiate out a couple flares this way.
Some flares.
Right. Just a little bit. And then there are some that come out there. I kind of just look at that. And then we have some little glaze, little that. You can even do some zinc. But not yet the titanium, because we just don't want it to be that bright. Right, just a little bit. And then I'm going to take just a bit of my zinc. From the sun going on, I'm going to add a little of the titanium would probably over lighten in that space and overpower the effect I'm trying to do. And so if I just keep it to zinc, then I'm progressing slowly enough to not have to stress on it so much. Now once I have those flares in, I'm going to take my cad and my titanium white. Ooh, here we go, right?
But I want
more cad. And we're going to just touch a little reflection that comes up this water. There we go.
More cad than the cad.
More cad than cad. Take your titanium white. And just in the center of your sun, go ahead and make sure that there's a white hot spot in that. Not the whole sun, just some of the sun.
Just some of it's got to be washed out.
Oh, she's looking so pretty.
Oh, she is. This is fantastic. See, I'm gonna now. If you'll step forward just a step, I'm gonna come over here to this, and then watch as I pan out.
She's just looking so nice.
She looks so good, guys. I mean, I really like that a lot.
I'm pretty happy with her as well.
Yeah.
But I've got to put the detail hairs in now.
Oh, detail hairs? What? Do more?
Yeah, more. So I'm going to take my cad red light and my burnt sienna. I might even add a little naphthol. And I'm going to thin it. And I'm going to spend a little time detailing the details. Creating small, loose hairs.
Oh, yeah. It adds more depth.
Yep.
It's all about those acrylic layers, man.
Gotta love your layers.
They get me.
I'm gonna come right here to the head.
I'm with you. I'm with the community here. I'm all enthralled watching you put the little final hairs on there.
Little final hairs are the best. Then here, maybe some darker.
Ooh, Twix returned with the bottle.
What?
Twix came back over here.
Twix came back over there, and you got the bottle. Like, I got the bottle. We're just going to layer this up and enjoy this.
Yeah.
My number 2 shader. I'll probably be switching to my number 1 in a minute.
Yeah.
Yep. We're just creating that sense of space.
Yeah.
Where things flow from one thing to another. Just added some black and brown, and I'm going to just try to blend these worlds together. Little black and brown, blending these little worlds together, where this rock becomes hair. Thinking about that. Let me look at the big one. Getting there.
Getting there. I think it was awesome.
So I've got my dark value here too. I've had my little red values. I'll make sure that I have this dark value so it looks like, which is my black and my burnt umber, or blue if I need it, that the hairs are coming off the rocks. That's what we're trying to do, is find that pull that color down.
The feathers have attacked me again.
Sorry.
They've thought up. See, told you. It was the feathers all along. They did it in the green room with the camera.
Now once I have that done, I'm going to want to take my number 1. I'm going to grab a little of my burnt umber and a little of my Indian yellow, some zinc, if I need to, one of my tricks might be to pull some fluid white into it to help improve the flow of my color. And the whole trick here is going to be just about getting nice flow off this paint with a highlight hair. You know what? Mister.
Mister? You know what, mister? No, not like you. I mean, like the object, the noun, mister.
If the fluidity won't come to the paint, bring the paint to the I don't know.
It's like saying, you better get your spectacles. See, around here, that's a verb. Or an adjective. Not necessarily a noun. But this is an art channel, not a grammar channel, so...
No, not a grammar channel. No grammar.
We probably should be not...
Will ever be learned here.
We'll confuse you about it, though. We could say, like, totally wrong things.
We really could. Just working our little hair, just making sure that these worlds feel integrated, right? So all I'm doing is I'm just integrating the worlds.
Just adding some...
Yeah, I think she's there.
Yeah?
I think she's pretty close to there.
Yeah, I like it.
You guys can keep working these spaces and this stuff, but it's just really about finding that place. Can you full screen it for them?
I cannot full screen.
What if I do this thing?
You could do that thing right there. And so, there. Okay, you go, look at that. All right. See?
Hat.
That's pretty good there. You can see that. That turned out pretty nice.
I'm fairly happy with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's sign her.
All right. Where are you going to sign her?
So I have to really think about this because anywhere I stick my signature, it impacts the composition.
It does.
Great deal. And I don't like to, negatively impact my composition. It irks me. Right? Because I worked so hard to paint it.
Yeah. Like, hide it somewhere behind your ear or something crazy.
Or just wherever you put it, it needs to be, not disruptive.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna watch where you're signing.
You want people to be able to see it, but you don't want it to be disruptive.
That's a nice place there.
Just very light.
You're just using a little bit of white paint there.
Yeah.
So now this is the exciting part of the end of the show where I have to make sure that all the buttons work. So.
All right, guys. Hopefully this was enjoyable to y'all and you learned some stuff. I'm going to be bringing you some more information about eyebrows because I know that's an area but I've been like feeling it on the faces. So we talked a bit about it today, but we're going to really drill into men and women's eyebrows really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So be watching for that. I'm trying to figure out when to get up some of the votes in our schedule. And of course, we have Fridays live on Facebook.
Yep.
So that's going to be really fun, simple lesson. And then I think, I'm not sure if we're dropping one tomorrow or not.
Can I say thank you to everybody? Because we've had just under 600 people here still with us right now. Thank you guys so much.
Cannot wait to see these. Feel free to share these in the Big Art Quest group on Facebook, as well as the Art Sherpa official or on my, Art Sherpa page, anywhere you want. And of course, you can upload as many paintings as you like to TheArtSherpa.com. Just upload. Upload away.
Please use up all my hard drive space.
Please.
We'll get more. We love seeing the pictures, guys. We love seeing you.
Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and I want to see you at the easel really soon. Bye-bye.